Hello everyone, I hope you're enjoying Product Drive so far. My name is Natalia Kimlickova and I'm a product marketing manager in a company called Kontentino. Today I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how important it is to let the product speak for itself, what role product marketing plays in it, and I will share some of the outcomes this approach brought to our company. So let's get started. What is Kontentino? For those who haven't heard about us yet, we are a social media management and collaboration tool that is basically helping marketing agencies and brands with their content planning and approval processes. And of course, Kontentino is us, this crazy team consisting now of more than 25 people actually. So I may start a little bit unusually, but everyone knows TikToks here, right? And I'm sure that to each of you this happened. You only needed a single mint, but ended with a full hand and TikToks all over the place. Now, do you actually know that the box has been designed to deliver only a single mint? You just need to shake it upside down, open it, and there it is. A single mint is waiting for you inside the box lid. Now, when I first heard about this, I was like, wow, how come no one told me about this cool hack before? Like, I've been using such a simple product like TikToks box in a wrong way the whole time. So now let's leave TikToks with this idea on your head and move back to SaaS. This is Kontentino, or better said, it was Kontentino about a half a year ago. If you land here for the first time after signing up, would you know what to do? Well, don't worry, because actually 60% of our users had absolutely no clue. They were not able to do the basic stuff like adding social media profile, creating a post, and the experienced value was really not matching the one promised in marketing communication. So as a result, we were fighting with very low first week retention and a huge churn after first web session. So this was the time we decided product marketing really needs to step in the game and clean this mess a little bit. We started with two main goals in our head. First was to shrink time to value, so basically get users to understand the core value of Kontentino in the quickest way, and increase retention rate of newly acquired users. All the communication that we were sending, such as onboarding emails, invitations to demos, were not really helpful, and we've been actually noticing that less and less people are keen to speak to our customer support. This all was actually only supporting a finding of a study made by Forrester that says that B2B buyers want to self-educate about the product and they just don't want to speak to your sales representatives anymore. So this all led us to create our first in-app onboarding process, a process that would actually help the user to understand the value of the product on his own in the most quickest and efficient way. It sounded all very, very good, but before we were able to do any of this, we really had to take a step back and think about our activation points. Now, I'm going to talk about activation points, also known as aha moments, a lot in this presentation. And those are basically the key features or actions we want our users to make in order to understand the value of our product. So in the case of Kontentino, I was adding social media profile, creating a post, and inviting another user. It's really advised to pick up only 2 to 3 main features in order to not overwhelm user with all other functionalities. But once we have activation points, we are actually ready to draft the ideal user journey that would lead our user to become an activated one in our product. So defining activation points was really a stepping stone for us and for all further product marketing activities. Once we had them, we were finally able to craft our first in-app onboarding, and we actually chose UserPilot to help us with that. And this is how Kontentino looks like after we launched the onboarding process. So there is a welcome message saying you hi and providing you with the most important information regarding trial. We also put the picture of Hannah, our head of customer success, which made this whole message much more personal. Now, would you click on Let's Start button? 98% of our users are doing so, and they are willing to continue with the onboarding process. So after they click on Let's Start button, they are being redirected to the most important activation point, which is in our case adding social media profile. During the whole onboarding process, we decided to go for interactive walkthroughs rather than product tours. Why? So you may know product tours as these very lengthy messages that are showing you around the tool, and that's basically the problem because they are showing you way too much, way too early, and as a result, user become frustrated and he just skips the tour and never come back. Interactive walkthroughs, on the other hand, are nudging the user to take an action and make him to try the tool on his own straight away. So we've used a mix of driven actions and tooltips that are putting the user on the right element in the tool, but also in the right time during his user journey. Because as I said, we don't want to overwhelm him with all the functionalities straight away. We also created a checklist that contains all the main activation points and is guiding the user through the ideal journey. So every time user completes one of these activation points, it gets crossed in the checklist, which only motivates him to finish them all. This checklist is available for him during the whole trial, so anytime he wants to refresh any of these experiences, he just needs to click on it and it will trigger for him again. Keep the attention of the user. It's always great to make it a little bit fun and gamify the experience. So for this, we are, for example, celebrating the completion of the activation points by funny gifts, and we are again nudging him to take another action. It happens a lot that users just get stuck during the onboarding process, and for that we try to motivate them with a gift that they would receive at the end of the checklist, so after they complete all the activation points. Now, these were some of our proven hacks for onboarding, but what results they actually brought. So this is a user path analysis made in Heap before we launched onboarding process. We could see that our users didn't really have a coherent path. They were just wandering around, clicking everywhere, and they were actually able to add social media profile, the most important activation point, only in step 4, and only like 9% of them. And these are the results after we launched onboarding process. So we can see that our users were really following the events set up in user pilot, so basically the onboarding process. And if we hide these events, we find out that almost a half of them were able to add social media profile already in step 2. Also, we were able to increase overall user activation by 10%, which was an amazing success. Now, the rule of thumb is always to optimize, and experiment. It took us around 6 rounds to come up with the most engaging onboarding process, and we are definitely not done yet. So if you come to Kontentino now, you will see that we are experiencing also with demo content and other great stuff. One of the things that we always optimize are all the copies and messages. So we always do A/B testing, and what we found out is that less is always more. People don't want to read and they just won't read. So keeping all your messages very simple and clear is what's paying off. Another example of a very successful experiment that we ran has quite of a psychological nature. So solely by adding an event in the checklist that will be already crossed resulted in this. The engagement with the checklist rose from 69% to 100%. It's really important to have all these experiments and optimizations backed up with real-time data. So for this, we are using mainly these free tools. If you don't have data links in your team, don't worry, they are super user-friendly. We use Heap mainly for product adoption analysis. Then I love to use Hotjar, where I can set up heat maps and recordings. So I'm getting also a little bit of this qualitative data, and then user pilot, where I'm checking the performance of experiences and communication inside the tool. However, I believe that the most important thing for putting the product up front is the correlation between all the departments, as each of them has a very important insights and knowledge from the field. So I like to think about product marketing as a glue between all of them, that is making sure that everyone is aligned with the product. and based on their knowledge and insight, set up hypotheses, experiments that would drive the usage of a product. So at the beginning, when we started with product marketing, it was quite challenging to set up these internal workflow processes. But once we did it, it really paid off. Now we are able to develop, launch, and communicate new features in a much more successful and organized way. And also, we made sure that everyone in the company knows what's going on and knows what's going to happen in the future. I talked a lot about onboarding processes, but does product marketing end here? Definitely no. I'm sure everyone here is familiar with this SaaS funnel, and I would like you to think where product marketing applies here. So, of course, we start with acquisition, where I talked a lot about onboarding and getting users to the aha moments, so they will become activated users in our product. Now here, the role of product marketing is to really make him adopt the product by showing him also secondary features and eventually leading him to payment. However, product marketing definitely doesn't end with a conversion to paid users. And here is where the tertiary onboarding comes to place. And the main aim is to basically make our user a power one, a pro user of our app, through different educational and nurturing activities and follow-ups. So once the user becomes a power one, a pro, it's really important to keep his relationship with the product by delighting him with new product launches, with new features, by listening also to his requests and providing him with early access to new releases. Now we're coming to the ultimate goal of product marketing, which is making the user an advocate of our product, of our brand, that would eventually bring leads back to the top of our funnel. So yes, product and product marketing applies in every stage of the funnel, or better say a flywheel, which is driven by the product in each stage of user journey. It's a product-led growth strategy through which product sells itself and delivers brand promise to users during their whole journey. This strategy also implies that each department uses product as a main weapon to meet their objectives and KPIs. Coming to an end, what are the key takeaways from this presentation? So we're definitely moving from a sales era to product-led one, in which product is the driving force for new leads acquisition and users retention. Product marketing plays a very significant role in this whole process, and implementing this role in your company can bring many benefits. Stepping stone for each product marketing activity is the definition of activation points, aha moments, and ideal user journey that would help us to lead a user to understand the core value of our product on his own via in-app onboarding, interactive walkthroughs, or tooltips. And the rule of thumb is always to optimize, experiment, and analyze, because this is really a never-ending educational spiral. So please don't be afraid to let a product speak for you, and let product marketing show your users how to use the product correctly, so you won't end up like TikTok box that everyone is just using in a wrong way. So it was a pleasure speaking here today, and if you have any questions, just don't hesitate to contact me via email or LinkedIn. Bye bye!